Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and I'm going to be doing a Cyberdark deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck summons out one of the most powerful boss monsters in the entire game, Cyberdark in Dragon, which is an absolutely insane boss monster that this deck summons out extremely consistently. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description every single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Cyberdark Chimera. Cyberdark Chimera is a definite 2 in this deck, because this card actually searches out Power Bond, because it has the ability to discard a spell or trap from your hand to be able to add a Power Bond from your deck to your hand. And you can only use Dragon and Machine Cyber monsters as fusion materials the turn you activate this effect. Also, once, when you fusion summon this turn, you can also banish monsters from your graveyard as material, making your copy of Power Bond not only a fusion from hand and field, but also making it so you can fusion from graveyard, which is insanely powerful, and how we usually make our copy of Cyber Darkness Dragon. But this card also has the ability, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send a Cyberdark monster from your deck to the graveyard with a different name from cards in your graveyard currently, which is a really powerful effect to get us additional names in the grave so we can fusion summon into other cards. We then play a single copy of Cyberdark Horn. We play a single copy of Cyberdark Edge, and just 1 copy of Cyberdark Keel. You play these cards as 1 each in the deck so you can summon out your copy of Cyberdark Dragon, but also for additional names in the deck. And they all share a common effect that when they're normal summon, you get to pick a level 3 or lower dragon monster in your graveyard and equip it to them, and then they gain attack equal to the monster equipped to them, which is really neat. But each one of them has unique effects, like your copy of Horn has the ability to do piercing damage, your copy of Edge has the ability to attack directly, but it does half damage, and your copy of Keel, when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, it does 300 bonus damage to the opponent. We then play 3 copies of Cyberdark Claw. Cyberdark Claw is a really awesome 3 for the deck because it's actually a searcher, because you can discard this card from your hand to be able to add a Cyberdark spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is an extremely powerful effect to be able to search out cards like Cyberdark Realm or even Cybernetic Horizon, which is always treated as a Cyberdark card. But this card also has the ability that during damage calculation, if a monster equipped with this card battles, you can send 1 monster from your extract to the graveyard, which we have a bunch of really good targets in the extract to send to the graveyard to get us all sorts of cool effects. We then play 3 copies of Cyberdark Cannon. Cyberdark Cannon is a definite 3 of in this particular build, and a really good card because you can discard this card to the graveyard to be able to add a Machine Cyberdark monster from your deck to your hand, which is your copies of Chimera, Horn, Edge, and Keel that you can actually search from deck to hand with this card's effect. But it also has the ability that during damage calculation, if a monster equipped with this card battles, you can send a monster from your deck to the graveyard, which helps you get additional names in the graveyard to be able to fusion summon into some really powerful cards. We then play 3 copies of the best normal summon in the entire deck, 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Core. Cyber Dragon Core is a definite 3 of in this particular deck because it has the ability, if this card is normal summoned to your side of the field, you can add a Cyber Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand, which is great to be able to add cards like Cyber Dark Realm and cards like your Cybernetic Horizon directly from your deck to your hand. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dragon Nashter. Nashter is a really cool card in the deck because this card has the ability that you can discard 1 card from your hand that's a monster to special summon this card from your hand, and if this card is normal or special summon, you get to target a machine monster with 2100 attack or 2100 defense in your graveyard and special summon it, which is great to be able to get your copy of Chimera back on your side of the field off this card's effect. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dragon Hertz. Cyber Dragon Hertz is really good as a 1 of the deck, but you only need a single copy of this card because you're usually paying this card for cost for Cybernetic Horizon, which gets you the ability that if this card is sent to the graveyard, you get to add 1 other Cyber Dragon from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is a great effect to be able to search out your copy of Cyber Dragon directly from your deck. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dragon just to search off the copy of Hertz. You only really need a single copy of this card, but it's a great 1 of in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Magnamut. Magnamut's just insanely powerful, just like any of your other buy steel cards, but this card has the ability that you can target a light or dark monster in either player's graveyard, banish it, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. And it's a quick effect if your opponent controls a monster, which all of the buy steel monsters that are level 6 share that common effect. And if this card is special summon, you can activate this effect that during the end phase of this turn, you get to add a dragon monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is extremely powerful to add cards like Cannon or Claw from your deck to your hand, but we're usually adding one of our 3 copies of Druis Worm. Druis Worm is extremely powerful in this deck because this card has the ability that if this card is sent from the field to the grave, you get to target a special summon monster that your opponent controls and send it to the grave. We have multiple ways to equip this card to another monster, which is really insane because even if it's an equip card and it touches the graveyard, it counts that it was a monster and it actually goes off, which is insanely powerful. With cards like Cyberdark Invasion, you can actually equip this card to multiple cards and be able to send it to the graveyard off Cyberdark Invasion to be able to pop cards on the field, which is insanely powerful. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Cybernetic Horizon. Cybernetic Horizon is a really awesome one-of in the deck because it has the ability that this card is always treated as a Cyberdark card. And it has the ability that you send 2 dragons and or machine cyber monsters with different attributes to the graveyard, 1 each from your hand and deck, and then add 1 dragon or machine cyber monster from your deck to your hand. And if you do, send a machine cyber fusion monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, which is always going to be your copy of Cyber in Dragon, because you want to get that card in the graveyard so you can equip it to Cyber Darkness Dragon so that you can summon out your copy of Cyber Dark in Dragon, which is just insanely powerful to be able to put on the field. This card basically sets up for your copy of Cyber Dark in Dragon. We then play a single copy of Overload Fusion. Overload Fusion's really good in this deck to be able to fusion summon a dark machine monster by banishing the materials from the graveyard. We then play 2 copies of Power Bond because it is searchable off our copies of our Chimera. This card is really insane because the monster that you fusion summon with this card actually has double attack points, but you take damage equal to that monster's original attack points during the end phase, so you usually want to OTK with the opponent unless you summon out a copy of, say, Cyber Darkness Dragon, where you're only going to take like 2,000 points. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Emergency. Cyber Emergency searches out your copy of Core from deck to hand, which is really good for this deck. We then play 3 copies of Cyberdark Realm. Cyberdark Realm is insanely powerful because this card gives you an extra normal summon and searches a Cyberdark monster from your deck to your hand, but also gives your Cyberdark monsters their anime effects, because if you equip a monster from your graveyard by the effect of a Cyberdark monster that activated when it was normal or special summon, you can equip a monster from your opponent's graveyard instead, which is really insane. We then also play 3 copies of Clockwork Knight. Clockwork Knight is really neat because it turns every monster on the field into a machine monster. It makes all your opponent's monster lose 500 attack and defense, and all our monsters go up by 500 attack and defense, which is really neat to combo with our buy-steal monsters because it'll make all of our buy-steal monsters come out at 2,900, which is insane. That basically they're DD Crows and they go up with this card's effect, which is just really, really good. It also combos extremely well with our copies of Core because we normal summon out Core to the field, and this card makes everything a machine, so you can make cards like Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, which is really cool. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Cyberdark Invasion. This card is really cool combo with your copy of Druis Worm because it has the ability that once per turn you can activate one of these effects to target a Cyberdark effect monster that you control and equip a dragon or machine monster from either graveyard to it as an equip spell that gives it 1,000 attack points. Or you can send a equip card that you control equipped to a machine monster to the graveyard and then destroy 1 card that your opponent controls. Which when you send your copy of Druis Worm off this card, you're actually going to get to send a special summon monster on the field to the graveyard as well, which is really neat. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Impermanence is a definite 3 in the deck because it just stops your opponent's monster effects, and if you set this card to your side of the field, you can actually lock down spell and trap card columns, which is really neat. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to be playing a single copy of Cyberdark in Dragon. This card is super easy to put on your side of the field, and it's just a really awesome card. It has the ability, it must either be fusion summoned or special summoned by tributing a level 10 or lower Cyberdark fusion monster equipped with a Cyber End Dragon, which is how we're always summoning out this insanely powerful monster. But it also has the ability that's unaffected by your opponent's activated effects, and once per turn, you can equip one monster from either player's graveyard to this card. And it also has the ability this card can attack a number of times each battle phase equal to the number of equipped cards equipped to this card, which is just absolutely insane. This card is a definite one-of in this deck and really easy to put on the field. We then play a single copy of Cyber End Dragon. And the really cool thing about this card is it's actually a misprint, and both of them are misprint and stamped with each other, which is really nice. But this card is really neat in this deck because basically you're sending it to the graveyard with Cybernetic Horizon to be able to equip it to Cyber Darkness Dragon and then summon out a copy of Cyberdark in Dragon. We then play a single copy of Cyber Darkness Dragon. Cyber Darkness Dragon is really neat in this deck as it has the ability it must first be fusion summoned, and if this card is special summoned, you can equip one dragon or machine monster from your graveyard to this card, and it gains attack equal to the original attack of the monster equipped to this card, which makes this card get absolutely massive on the field. It also has the ability that when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can send an equipped card that you control to the graveyard to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card, which is really insane about this card because it's not a once per turn. We then play a single copy of Cyberdark Dragon. Cyberdark Dragon, you summon this card every so often in the deck, but it's a really cool one-of in this build. We then play a single copy of Mega Fleet with cards like your copy of Cyber Dragon Core counting as Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. It's really easy to make this card and out cards in the extra monster zone. We're then playing two copies of Fortress Dragon. Fortress Dragon is really neat in this deck because Fortress Dragon is just insanely good with cards like Clockwork Knight and Cyber Dragon Core, putting them on your side of the field and then immediately getting rid of everything that your opponent has on the field that's monsters to make this, which is really insane. We then play a single copy of Garua. Garua is actually used for your copy of Claw and is really cool because if you use this card with Claw, you get to draw a card. We then play a single copy of the Abyss Dragon. You also use this card with Cyberdark Claw, but it's really a great card because it has the ability that during the end phase, if this card's in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you get to add a Polymerization normal spell or a Fusion normal spell from your deck to your hand, which is always going to be your copy of Overload Fusion that you're grabbing off this card. I love this tech card in this deck, and it's a really cool card to send off of Cyberdark Core, or Cyberdark Claw. We then play two copies of Elder Entity Nist. Elder Entity Nist is really neat in this deck because it has the ability that if it touches the graveyard, you actually get to pop a card on the field, which is a great effect for this card to have because it's really neat to combo with your copy of Claw, just like your copy of Garua and your copy of Abyss Dragon. We then play a single copy of Wallow. Wallow is really easy to put on the field with your copy of your Bysteel monsters, and it's just an insanely powerful XZ monster. Play a single copy of Cyber Dragon Sigurd. Sigurd's really easy to put on the field because you just use a copy of Core plus any other monster to put this card on the field, and it's really good because it can get cards absolutely massive. And then play a single copy of the Dark Charmer. Dark Charmer is really easy to put on our side of the field. It's just a great card overall. And then finally a single copy of Alamiraj just to give us a little bit of protection while also being able to link away cards like our Cyberdark monsters that have low attack points. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to play. If you guys have never played Cyberdark before, you definitely should give this deck a try because it's just an absolutely insane deck. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.